Welcome to the Observe Day podcast, the show where we celebrate the days that matter. From holidays to meaningful observances, we bring you inspiring conversations, stories, and ideas to make each day count. Whether it's raising awareness, learning something new, or simply sparking joy, this is your space to explore the calendar in a whole new way. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I'm excited to share today's observance with you. Let's dive in. Larry G. Diggs is a best-selling author, entrepreneur, mentor, and the host of the Born or Made podcast. His book, Born or Made: Fear is a Liar, Defeat is Overrated, digs into the real setbacks and grit it takes to build lasting success. Larry's journey began in the lumber yards, where, with no investors or privilege, he built his first multi-million dollar company from scratch. He's also the founder of Apex, soon to be president of the Structural Building Components Association and creator of the Do What's Right framework, a practical guide for high performance to reset and regain clarity outside business. Is a licensed race car driver, cattle rancher, and wellness advocate who believes energy is your edge. Today, in celebration of National Reading New Book Month, Larry shares how books fuel discipline, perspective, and the courage to build. Welcome to the podcast, Larry.
Great. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to our day.
Yeah, National Reading New Book Month encourages people to pick up something fresh. What's a book that recently reshaped your thinking or business?
Wow, that's a golly. I read so many darn books. I mean, I'm reading one right now it's called Winning the War for Talent. Interesting philosophy. It's kind of changing the way the world thinks about employees and what gets them to retain or to stay. And that's one that's just really changed my whole view of we've always had a very regimented cycle in the United States. You work there a year, you get 2 weeks. We give you this. There's all these. You get holiday and stuff like that off. And this is starting to talk about just how the way you treat people, and giving them a lot more flexibility in their workspace. And as a manufacturer, that's challenging because we do everything from start to finish. We design the plans to putting the product on a job site. And so for me, having flexibility is odd because you have so much structure in a manufacturing process. So that's really the one I'm reading right now. That's kind of I've been enjoying because it's forcing me to think about the work, how we work with our employees, our staff
Yeah,
differently outside the box.
yeah. Well, thanks for sharing. And that book. In your own best-selling book, Born or Made, you
Mhm.
emphasize setbacks as fuel. How can reading new books help people reframe failure as growth?
Well, failure is part of the process. I mean, I think one of the reasons why I wrote the book too is just to kind of, dispel this whole thought process that entrepreneurship is great and, we all make millions of dollars and, live get to go to five-star hotels and fly around in private jets. And that's just not the case. And I use the analogy of, life is peaks and valleys and everybody sees you at the peak, but they don't understand that you've either come out of the valley of, treacher and despair, or you're going back into, the same thing as back into the valley. And so most of your journey is spent fighting up or down, as you go in or coming out. And I just think that defeat is something that, people talk about, and you have to have the losses to truly appreciate the wins. I mean, think about a baseball player. If you're a great hitter, you strike out 7 out of 10 times that you go to the
Yeah,
plate. And that's life. I mean, and I just think that that's one thing the internet has done as a disservice, is that, everybody you see on the internet looks pretty and has everything and everything's going great. And that's just not the true case of being an entrepreneur, and not of life either. I mean, you're going to have losses. And so I just really just trying to make people understand that that's just not the case. But it's
yeah,
okay. I mean, you have to have the losses. I mean, think about if all you ever did was win, you would get
yeah.
complacent. That's not the way
uh,
this works.
yeah. Well, yeah. You've built businesses. You've also mentored um, entrepreneurs. How do you encourage leaders to keep learning through books instead of relying only on their experience?
Oh, if you're not reading and looking at the greats, like right now, I'm really working hard on my keynote speeches and just public speaking in general, doing all these podcasts and stuff like that. And what they encourage us to do through our group is that, watch the greats. My favorite is Zig Ziglar, like in that. And so I don't get to see as much video of him as much as you get to see audio because he's much older, and just watching how these guys do it, and that's how you emulate that. I mean, I do the same with reading great successful business people. It's amazing when you do all this stuff how many times they just get beat down, but they're willing to get back up and do it again tomorrow. And so
Yeah,
that's what books give you. They give you insight into seeing someone else's past and what their journey was. And it's just, I mean, to me, if you're not learning, I mean, you are, they say it's like in business, if you're not growing, you're going, you're going out of business. It's the same thing with learning. I mean, if you're not learning, I mean, what's the purpose? I mean, if you're not going to learn, then be okay being where you're at, which is fine. Just don't complain about it.
yeah,
So I read all
thank
the time. I
you.
mean, I have too many books because I can't read them all.
Wow. One of the core things your podcast talks about is it tries to cover how the top 1% think. And for me, I'm curious to know, have books come up as a common denominator among elites performance?
That's interesting. So books, what you find is the podcast gives us an opportunity to look into people's journeys from the time they are born to where they are success. And that's how we finish up with, do you think you were born or made? Meaning, do you think you were just born this way, or do you think there's a culmination of being made and born, or some people just think born, and just trying to make, have people, think about that. And so one thing that you find in all of these books and all of these podcasts, everybody's a hard worker. There are no shortcuts. You know, they get up and get beat down and they get up and do it again and again and again. And that's what books tell you. And then that's what we get to do as real life stories through our podcast, Born or Made. And it's amazing. Every journey you hear are pretty much the same. Now, some struggle earlier, later, midstream and stuff like that. But the books and stuff like that, same thing. They never, nobody falls out of bed and becomes a successful entrepreneur day one. It just doesn't
Yeah.
happen. And some of these, as I say in my podcast and talking into my speeches, I am a 62-year-old overnight success. I've been working since I was 11 years old.
Yeah.
And that's what these
Yeah.
books all
No.
show. I mean, all of them, every one of them. The great, the ones that you see on, that are in the paper every other day, and the guy that's running the tire store down the street. It's the same journey.
Yeah. For me, I'm like, you get to have conversations with all these top uh, figures in their respective feeds. Um,
Mhm.
how much of the times do they mention or bring up books in terms of I read this book and it really inspired me and it really helped me and stuff like that.
There's a lot of them that do. We don't go down that path as much, but you will have people that'll come and, I read this book. Like there was one guy that I interviewed and I ended up going and reading this book, and it's called The 4 Hour Work Week. And I read this book. I will not follow all of the processes of that, but there are things that I got out of it. And I was actually in a forum group yesterday, and they asked me something about a question on something about time and notifications. And I'm like, well, I do that. And like, really? I'm like, yeah, I read this book. So it doesn't happen all the time, but they all are very enlightened people. And clearly, they talk about reading and it's reading a book is important, but read newspaper articles, read small, things that you can see that you can digest something very quickly. Because what I've found with books, and all of them say this, is that if you read a book and you get 2 or 3 things out of a book, that's a great book. Because so many of these things that entrepreneurs read, we're all reading kind of the same stuff. It's what it does is it constantly reminds us of the journey that we're on, and that it's not going to be easy. That's what I get a lot of it. And that's what a lot of these get out of them too. When I interview all these people, but a lot of it's just watching the greats, reading about the greats. You talk about, if you want to be a great basketball player, who are you going to go watch? Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
If you want to be a great business guy and learn things, I mean, they're pretty easy. Look at Elon Musk or Bezos, people like that. And there's millions of them that aren't going to be on that front page of Forbes. that are doing great things too. Yeah, or Michael Jordan, Kobe actually studied Michael Jordan. And it's, like watching the greats. I mean, reading stories. So we were talking about, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Kobe actually studied Michael Jordan. Well, we should be doing the same thing, studying other people that have gone through the same journey. And it doesn't have to be all, I
Yeah.
mean, it's like mentorship, I mean, books are mentors, right? And so you're going through and just looking at things that people have done. And as I was talking about, if you read a book and you get 2 or 3 things out of it, that's a great book.
Before we dive deeper, I'd love to invite you to join the Observe Day newsletter. Every week, I send you highlights of upcoming observances, creative ways to celebrate, and behind the scenes extras from the shows. It's the perfect way to stay inspired and never miss a meaningful moment. Sign up today at observeday.com/join. That is observeday.com/join. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
Well, the same thing
Yeah.
with watching the greats in any field that you're in, authors, painters, business people, athletes. Athletes are, on the TV every day. I mean, look at the great golfers. I mean, they don't, great golfers don't just roll out of bed and become great golfers. You talk about these guys like Tiger Woods and people like that. I mean, they hit 1,000 golf balls a day. Well, it's the same thing in your journey as an entrepreneur. I mean, if you're just going to get in your business and run it every day, you're going to do fine, maybe, maybe not. But if you study the greats, you'll see things ahead. You'll know when to pivot. You'll know when to pull back. I mean, that's what you're trying to figure out because what you find as an entrepreneur is you're by yourself a lot. And a lot of times, unfortunately, you're in
Yeah.
your head a lot, right? So
Yeah.
that's the thing. And so
I think,
studying that, seeing that, it gives you ambition to think that, when you see your local business guy and you talk to, Bob, who's running a tire store, and you're like, how are you doing this? He goes, well, this is what I do, and you learn just little tidbits. So what you're trying to do is just build, this over time and learning from other people's mistakes. Why would you not, wisdom, why would someone not want to talk to me at 62 years old? Like I said, 11-year-old starting working to a 62-year-old overnight
yeah,
success. Do you think I've made any mistakes in the last 51 years?
a lot,
You're darn right.
a lot.
Lots. And so
Yeah.
why wouldn't someone wanna talk to someone like me or read a book like mine to say, "Well, if this guy made this mistake, if I can stop you from making 1 or 2 mistakes, that's a success." And that's what you're
Yeah.
trying to do. I mean, it's like we talk to our family, you talk to your parents or whatever. I always use my dad as an example. I mean, if I got a problem, I'll talk to my dad because guess what? My dad's 82 years old. Pretty good chance he's made a few more mistakes than me.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you
I
seek
feel
out that information through books and
yeah,
the
I feel
internet?
like
Yeah, I mean, learn how to like mine has been like learn how to hire people. Like learn how to hire good people. Well, if you can learn from somebody how to hire good people and retain good people, then you are going to be
yeah,
way ahead. I mean, this is really, we talk about this and it's a big topic and it has been forever is, people are the hardest part of the business. I mean, anybody can run a business,
yeah,
but you got to find the right people, put them on the right seat on the bus, right? The book Good to Great, and just understanding how important that is. But, I tell people all the time, my greatest success has been that I've had people work for me from the day I started and are still working for me. And we're now retiring people because they're aging out. I mean, that's a success. So why wouldn't you want to learn from someone like me of how I've done that? I mean, do it. It's
yeah,
smart. And not just me. There's lots
yeah,
of other, I mean, I'm not the only guy in the world that's done it, but I mean, figure out little things that people do.
yeah. One of the
And
things
reading
I
helps
want
that.
you to address is a lot of persons they consume information rather than being practical transformation as let me use that word. Right, they read books but they apply nothing, and so you see them, they're like, oh, how to do this, how to become a public speaker, and they're not even they're like, they're just terrible examples. They read for reading sick, right? They don't apply or implement any of those things they read.
Well, because so what do I do is I've got a keynote that I work on and have been working on for a while. It's called the 4 Ds of success. Well, the first one is a D is discipline. Well, discipline means getting up, setting a standard, and building a foundation every single morning. Well, that's what discipline is in reading books and applying them. You and I can't help people. I mean, I read the Bible every day, and if I don't apply it to my life, guess what? It's not going to work. Well, that's on me.
Yeah,
It's reading books and seeing success stories and failures and things like that. And if you don't apply them, then that's on you. Well, that's where the discipline comes in. That's what I said, like finding 2, 1, 3 things out of a book and being able to apply that will have the discipline to apply it. Discipline is a form of motivation. Like I am extremely disciplined. I would argue that maybe my greatest attribute is that I'm very disciplined on what I do. And I do it daily. And then I adjust those, and it's constantly being adjusted to apply as I read a book or I see something. Like, I don't work out, just for the sake of working out. I work out because it sets the tone for me every single day. It makes my mind sharper. It makes me healthier. I sleep better. I mean, all these different things that apply. And if you don't read that, I mean, if they tell you to sleep 8 hours a day and you're only getting 4 and you wonder why it's not going well, maybe you need to apply the sleep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, that's it. I mean, it's the famous quote, right? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Well, it's the same thing with people. There's no secret. One thing I'd have learned for sure, wisdom through all this, is there are no secrets. It's all out there.
Yeah.
You just got to be willing to
Yeah.
apply it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing. Okay. Thank you so much, Eli. Um, since we're in the theme of holiday and celebration, I want us to do a quick, I won't really call it quick lightning round. It's about 10 questions. And so short responses. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Ah, what's the first book that ever changed your life?
God, the first book that ever changed my life. I guess I would first say the Bible. I mean, I started reading that at a very young age. And it's
Okay, that
everybody
counts.
says, well, there's no books. Yeah.
Okay.
But there is a life
What's a
book out
book?
there.
What's a book you reread often?
Wow. Okay. Well, that's another short story. That would be I read the Bible every single day. But
Okay.
the best one that I've read lately is the one on Elon Musk. That I don't read it daily, but I go back and reference it.
Okay. Okay. What's the book you recommend every entrepreneur should read in 2025?
Right now, I would go back in time. I would say Good to Great.
Jim
It's a
Collins.
basic
Um,
structure of that and the 4-hour work week.
okay. Paperback, hardcover, audiobook, or Kindle?
Love hardbacks. Listen to Kindle or listen to Audible all the time.
Okay. What's one book you wish you had written?
One book that I would read.
That you wish you had written?
Right now, I'd like to read Steve Jobs' book, but it's so darn thick, I'm having a hard time, and I haven't started reading it yet.
No, I'm saying, what's one book you wish you had written, not read?
Oh, written?
Yeah.
You know what I would read? That's a great question. I would say time. I would write a
Mm,
book and read a book about time and how fast it goes.
okay. Morning routine, reading or writing first. Okay. If you could gift one book to every person listening right now, what would it be?
The Bible.
Okay. Favorite quote from Born or Made?
My favorite is defeat is overrated.
That's okay. Okay. Okay.
Because that's
What's a
the
business?
one thing that we don't understand. People put too
Yeah.
much emphasis on winning and not the losses.
Yeah. What's a business lesson from a book you applied immediately? The moment you just finished reading it, you started applying it.
Getting the right people on the right seat on the bus.
Okay.
When
What
I
book
read that,
was
it
that from?
resonated. That was the Good to Great.
Okay.
You gotta have. You remember I talked about people earlier. It's about people being in
Yeah.
the right positions and within your company. And I've done a
Yeah.
great job of that later, but when I first started, I was terrible at it.
Yeah. Wow. If your life, the last question, if your life was a book title, what would it be today?
Do what's right.
Wow, that's an interesting title. Probably we should write. Wait, we should write that book.
Well,
Oh,
I
you think?
trademarked that because I put it in my
Yeah.
life 26 and a half years, 25 and a half years ago. And I look at that because if you apply every decision based on the right thing, it's probably you're going to be okay.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Larry. One of these days, I would invite you for an episode where we'll just talk and we'll talk until we're tired, and then we'll end the episode, and then we'll just go our separate ways.
I would love to do that
Ah,
anytime you want. I've made a lot of mistakes and made a lot of good decisions, and I want to share them with the world.
yeah, yeah. I'll take you up on that offer soon. Sooner or later, you should get a message from me. Thank you so much, Larry. Where can people learn more about the work you do and connect with you?
LarryGDix.com is my main website, LarryGDix.com, and bornormadepodcast.com. they can reach out. They can get connected with me directly through both of those websites. Love to
Yeah.
hear from
Wow.
people, love to help people out. We have a great mentorship program and a lot of great opportunities for people that we can share.
Yeah. Once again, thank you so much. It's been a delight chatting with a repeat guest.
Yes, thank you very much. Have a great day, and thanks for what you're doing.
That's it for today's episode of the Observe Day podcast. Thank you for spending your time with us as we explore today's observance. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and share it with a friend who'd love to celebrate life's special days too. Don't forget to join the newsletter at observeday.com/join for more observance stories, tips, and updates. Until next time, keep finding meaning in every day.